15 months. It has been 15 months since the COVID-19 pandemic rocked our world. Who could have ever have imagined that something like this would happen? But I cannot even begin to describe how excited I am that we are finally beginning to come through this pandemic, this epic battle together on the other side of this. But along the way, we have lost so many lives. And we've also lost a big part of ourselves. It is still difficult to fully comprehend that this pandemic is not showing any signs of stopping. And that really kind of got me thinking, what if this pandemic never goes away? On this week's episode of the 5-Minute Break, we're going to look to God's Word for ways that we can respond when God says no to us. Let's go. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the 5-Minute Break. My name is Dave Woodrum, and I serve as the lead pastor at First Christian Church in Arcadia, Florida. We would really love for you to hit that like, subscribe, along with that notification bell, so that you can be informed when new episodes drop each and every week. I am sure, like me, many of you have been praying and asking God to just remove this pandemic and to heal our nation. But what are we to do if God says no? Contrary to what many people would like to believe, God is not Santa Claus, and He's not the Easter Bunny, and He's certainly not the wishing star. He is the all-powerful creator and sustainer of the universe. Sometimes God affirmatively answers our prayers, and sometimes God says no to the things that we ask. Like a good parent, God sometimes says no because it's for our own good. The Apostle Paul affirms this very truth in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, when he says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Even when God says no to us, He really does have our best interest at heart. Our responsibility is to remain faithful and to trust Him, even when He says no, and even when our circumstances seem to get worse. There were 3 men in the Bible that understood their need to trust God even in the direst of circumstances. In Daniel chapter 3, the king is convinced to build this golden statue to himself. And he decrees that when people hear music being played in Babylon, that everyone has to stop what they're doing and they have to bow down and worship the statue of the king. But there were 3 godly men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they refused to bow down, and they will only worship the God of the Bible. When the king hears this, he is furious, and he threatens to have these men burned in a massive furnace. I want you to listen to how these 3 men respond to the king in Daniel chapter 3, verses 16 through 18. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, "King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and He will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if He does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold that you have set up." So even if God does not take this pandemic away, even if He doesn't remove that cancer from you, even if He doesn't fix your marriage or your kids or your job, even if everything is lost. We should only worship the Lord our God. I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of the 5-Minute Break. No matter what happens, no matter what the future holds, I want you to remember that God is still good and He loves you. Now, be sure to smash that like, share, and subscribe buttons. And I hope that you will be ready to take another break with me next time.